You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
My friends out there in comic book land. This is Minute to Skim It, our cool spoiler-free review show. We'll get you guys all squared away for this week. It is a huge release week, so I hope you guys are ready for it. I know it's been kind of like a little bit quiet for the last couple of weeks, and now boom, they hit us with a bunch of things we've been waiting on for a really long time. So without further ado, I'm going to get started on this stuff because there is so much to unpack today about things that we've been waiting on happening. Yep, Josh, huge week. You guys in the comments, you can totally post up what you're interested in, what you're super psyched for coming out this week, and anything you want to add to my reviews because you guys might know things that I don't. So this is BRZRKR number 8. This is the awesome series that was started by both Keanu Reeves and Matt Kent, and then also great art by Ron Garney and Bill Crabtree also. So what I've loved about this series so far has been kind of like the slow but very careful rolling out of the information about the character that I guess is Keanu, right? So he is completely immortal, and the government has kind of like glommed onto this and said to themselves, you know what? We would really love to have him be on our side and conquer our enemies, you know, like government agencies do. But the cool thing about this is like they could have taken this series and like immediately like put him to work and been pointing him at specific things and have that be the entirety of what the storyline's been about, right? But that is not what they did. What they did was make a lot of the storyline be about just kind of trying to figure out his real history, because there's so much that he doesn't know about why he's immortal or where he really came from. He knows where he remembers his parents, of course, his parents. But the government was trying to figure all these things because they see beyond kind of the just like using him, right? It's great to have one immortal on your team, sure. But if you could figure out the genetics to unlock that and make many more of your own soldiers that can be immortal, but, you know, don't have like the weird back history of trying to remember where they came from. And I've gone through all of the jillions of ages of drama in their life and bring all that kind of like baggage with them, right? Hey, Press Nation. So in this case, we've been waiting for this issue for a long time because it does appear as if they're really and truly getting to the origin of this character. And they appear to get there, although they don't really show us what is at the beginning of his time, which is completely fine by me. I don't really want to know. I'm really okay with them kind of dangling the true origin of him out there, because I think that once you give those kinds of things away for a character, then maybe it loses its power. But the art is really beautiful in this book for what it's giving. I think, hi, Nick. You're on your phone and computer giving a thumbs up. Angsty army, bad for morale. Isn't that the truth? And really, from what we've seen from the BRZRKR character, who they just call B in this book, he doesn't really work well with others. He just kind of like says, point me at the thing and I'll go do the thing. and then send the chopper for me, and then I'll take you. So I have a second Space Cadet sign. What's up with that? Oh, so what Prestonation is talking about is our store recently got too big for its own britches, and we split off the gaming part of our business, and now they have their own space in our center. So you have gaming shop and you've got ours. So that's what our local folks are asking about. Thanks for asking, Prestonation. You should go over there and look at it. It's really cool. So anyway, back to Berserker. Get this issue because I think probably when everyone looks back at the issues, they're probably going to say this is really kind of like origin for him, because it's probably as close as we're going to get for really seeing, like, I'll say they get as pretty specific as they can get. I mean, they show sperm and eggs in this one. So, I mean, that's pretty much everyone's origin. So definitely pick up the Berserker. And I know it's been a little bit of time. You will. It takes a little bit of time to get back there, but I'm okay with that. It gives me hope for when they do like the anime, that they're going to keep this kind of like non-linear storytelling together with it. And then if they do the TV show or movies or however they're going to bring the main storyline, hopefully they also do that. Because there's something, I don't know if you guys are the same way. I like non-linear storytelling where you get a little bit as you go, but it's not straightforward. I'm even fine with like reverse telling of tales. Sometimes they'll do that where you start the story at the end and then it fills in the blank, or they start you in the middle. And what's probably the one you know the most that's like that is Deadpool, where they start you in the middle and then they're like, you half a movie and then you're like, and we've caught up. So that's always fun. All right, this one is a book by Behemoth called Vermillion. This one is so beautiful, but very much not for kids. Don't leave it around for them. It's most like Muerta Onslaught books. So if you like any of Muerta Onslaught, you'll like this one. Although I don't think this is Muerta. Let me look. It's not her art, certainly, but let me tell you who actually works on this one. But I pulled this cover specifically because the other one it's pretty adult. And I don't know which ones are A's or B's. Oh, this is the B cover. Who worked on this book? I want to make sure you guys know. I will tell you that the whole book is black and white except for some red parts. And the red parts are super important because they are part of the storyline. Woohoo! Thank you. Thank you. It's all because you guys helped us get there. I'm super appreciative. Pretty soon we'll open up things like the ability for you guys to like get stickers and all that kind of stuff. We're looking to do all that kind of fun stuff. You know what? It does not say in this book who made it. All right. Looks like anyone that wants to say that they did it is fine. So this book is kind of a not straightforward tale. It starts with imagine that it's like a first person book in which maybe you are the first person. And the first person's dialogue shows up in like narration blocks. And then the female in this one, who's kind of like scantily clad girl at bar, then that one's actual like, if you want, like dialogue blobs. And it's kind of weird because it starts out you feeling very much like, okay, well, I'm just not seeing the character who's talking to her because they want me to feel like very like engaged and very part of it. Like I'm in there, right? It just gets a little bit more tricky as it goes along. It's essentially a story about whoever the red person is, dialogue person, picking up this girl at the bar, and then she like invites this person home, and there's some romantic situations that happen, and then it gets real super trippy. It's very, very meta. Brazilian arts brow. Okay, thank you. I know it said like there's a letter at the back that's signed by Brow, but I didn't know that they did the entire thing. So anyway, it's a truly interesting book. Very beautiful art. But like I said, just be careful because it is very adult. And if you have like triggers by naked pictures, then maybe it's not for you. Maybe you should step away from it. But yeah, it's a cool thing. You know, they've had a lot recently of books out there from lots of different companies. There's one like Christmas Caroline from Source Point, and I'm trying to think. Boom has got Klaus. There's a lot of books that have been written that have been kind of about the character of, you know, Nicholas or Santa Claus. And this one is no different than that. This one is actually about a man named Santa Claus. I'll be posting on May the 4th. I don't know what you mean by am I going to be posting? Let me know what you mean, what you're asking about there. But this one kind of goes back and gives him an origin story, which is probably mixed a little bit with fantasy and reality for the actual personage of St. Nicholas. And in this case, he's just a regular man who sees the need of kids in his town. Yes, I will be live streaming. Kids in his town that are needy, or, you know, like in a lot of the cases in this book, it's about kids that are like have the plague or whatever, that he knows they're not going to live. He just wants to give them something positive, even if it's only for a short amount of time. So he kind of like wishes on a star, which starts his relationship with the star. He doesn't like the star after he makes his wish, but that he gets to like do the stuff that's nice for them. So he starts making like a wooden figures and stuff for them. And then it gets even more crazy, where it has like many more interactions with him and people. That it essentially, he doesn't get any older from that point on, which is very interesting to say the least. That he's kind of like immortal in this book. And I won't tell you anything else that happens except for to say that there is something that happens with his naughty list, in which he then needs to try to figure out who has taken it, which is nuts. All right, bye, procrastination. It is really, really, really good, and I cannot wait to read the second one, because it makes it go from being kind of like a sweet tale about Santa Claus straight into just like a much more dark place, in which he is definitely going to hunt down whoever's messing around with his naughty list stuff. So give it a chance, even if it's something that you wouldn't normally read. I say I would pick up one just to check it out. Good for people that like little more adult stuff like Scumbag or Christmas Caroline, but less cartoony and funny. This is more serious. So, all right, and I have to apologize about this one. I picked up this cool number 1, which is called Star Runner Chronicles Dark Star. It's a limited series. This is part 1 of 3. But just to let you guys know, this actually connects to some series that happened before. And so it's very clear that it would be helpful in reading the story if you had read the other parts of this by Atlantis Studios. But yeah, it's like a really cool long book. I couldn't read all of it because, of course, I got to the first 5 or 6 pages and realized, you know, I am gonna have to spend more time with this book than I actually have when I'm trying to be reading it really quickly. This one has a pretty dense storyline that's going on with it. That the main character has got some kind of powers that have been imbued to her. And I think she's trying to figure it out too, which is kind of fun. So that one feels kind of like sci-fi. I think probably sci-fi, but it feels like she's living on like a regular Earth. So that's kind of cool. All right, let's talk about something I can do a deep dive for. All right, Amazing Spider-Man #1. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Oh, why are we starting over again with Spider-Man? Why are they doing this? It just made sense in the story. Honestly, it really did, because they had kind of come to the end of the storyline that they were working on. Where, I mean, we've gone through all of this giant thing where, Doc Ock had taken over Peter's body, and then Doc had come out of Peter's body, and Peter had become critically injured in the Beyond storyline. And so he kind of had to step aside, and then you had Ben Reilly step in. And Ben Reilly was working for the Beyond Corporation, and that was all kinds of chaos. And then both of them kind of like realized the Beyond Corporation was evil and kind of struck back. And then they started kind of working together. And then everything came to a head, I think, in issue number 73, which is the end of that run. It's a full end of that run. Okay. And then this book starts up with like, I don't know if they're trying to say like he's time traveled or universe traveled or what. He just kind of like shows up in the middle of this, like, I think it's like a field or something. And then he just kind of like moves into this storyline that feels like he's been living it, but I don't remember any of the things in this storyline actually happening. For example, it appears that he is not with MJ or anybody else, and that he, like, everything is not great in his life, even with Aunt May, that Aunt May had to move out of her whatever nice house and now is living in a dumb apartment, because it's like kind of feels like it's gone full circle, right? Because remember when Pete used to be just like not doing great, didn't have a lot of money, and was just working for pittance. And this is way before Parker Industries and that kind of stuff, but he's his age now, so it's not like he's gone back in time and been a younger version of himself. But this one has a big storyline that is dealing with Tombstone. I guess that this is also taking place in a timeline that happens after Kingpin is no longer in power. Because remember, Kingpin was trying to like not only be like mayor again, but I think he was trying to go try for a higher thing in Devil's Reign. So I guess that didn't work out. And now all of the other characters that you see that you associate it with Kingpin's circle, which would be like Tombstone and those guys, they're kind of like jockeying for power in this universe. And so it's really just, this book is mostly about Pete trying to struggle and try to figure out what he's going to do next. Like, he's looking for a job, which is kind of a weird thing for him after for so long being so successful. And, now it's clear that the big drama is going to be with the new power struggle in the city. And they actually call it a different city too. They don't call it, it's clear that he's not in New York or whatever. It's some other town. It's so weird. So anyway, I like these kind of things where they just pluck all our characters out, throw them back somewhere else. And it's fine for people that don't know anything about what's going on, because most of us don't know either, and that's fine. That's fine. It's a good read. Really good read. Highly recommend getting into Amazing Spider-Man. Even if you've been away for a while, you can jump right in there. Just knowing what I just told you is all you need. This one, is it good John Romita Jr. or not so good John Romita Jr.? The art, really good. To me, really, really good. Leans more to the more like stark, I want to say cartoony, but less detailed more open feeling, if that's helpful. I like it better when it's like thicker inking lines. You know that style? Yeah. Okay, so A Bloodstained Teeth is up next. This one is by Christian Ward and Patrick Reynolds and a bunch of other awesome people. But this is kind of a cool concept, okay? So listen to this deal. So in this world, it is about vampires. I'm sorry, another vampire book. Yes, more vampires for you. But in this case, the universe has kind of some rules. In this one, you're either have been born a vampire, so you've basically always been a vampire, or you get made into a vampire, and those are called SIPs, SIPs. I don't know what it stands for. But, and you cannot, as an SIP, you cannot make another vampire. Only original vampires can make more vampires. And then the SIPs don't have a lot of power. They just happen to be immortal. And the main character in this book is a vampire himself who has kind of figured out he can make money as an original vampire. We'll call him an OV. Why not? And he basically, if you like pay him money, he will bite you to turn you into a vampire because he knows you can't really, it's like there's no power in it for you except for being alive. And so, so he's kind of like breaking the code because you're not really allowed to do this. Like I think the rule is not to make any. And so he's being called out by the vampires that are original vampires. They're like, no, because there you go. Original gangster vampire. I like that, Nick. That's a good one. And because what this guy has not really like fully taken into account is that the newly made vampires that he's making, the SIPs, they don't always care about keeping things a secret. Like one of the girls that he makes into a vampire is like a huge social media star, and then she like immediately after becoming a vampire goes on to social media and says that she's, you know, like hashtag Fang Life or whatever. So so the twist in the book is that the vampires that are the OG vampires now are gonna make him go and hunt all of them down because they're trouble. There's no bad Junior. I agree, Nick. I agree, but some might be more awesome than others. If it depends on like the character that you like, right? All right, so Bloodstained Teeth leaves it on a cliffhanger, and the premise is pretty cool, right? When you have to come up with a new premise for creatures that have been in books forever. Speaking about original ideas, this one is by a CEX, which is Comics Experience Publishing, and it's called Past the Last Mountain, and it is a big prestige format book, and it's kind of cool. I don't know if it's supposed to be happening in our universe or if this is just completely made up one. There looks to be humans and then non-humans in this book, and it appears that at some point in the past that humans have put anything that is not human, so think goblins and trolls and dragons and those kinds of things, has put them in internment camps, but like in the best possible, like nice, like we're just trying to keep you here to keep you like so you're not dangerous to humans. And so they've been in internment camps kind of places for generations is what it sounds like. And it just like at the beginning of the book, you start seeing that something is starting to go on the fritz because one of the big, thinks she's a troll, kind of like loses it and breaks through the fence, but she doesn't really have like an idea where she's supposed to be going. She just like breaks out, even though she's completely fine being inside. And so what's neat about the way the book is told is that it's all written by Paul Allor. Right there. There you go. But the storyline is broken up art style wise by different artists. So you'll be reading along with one artist, and then when it jumps to like another character's kind of like point of view, or specifically telling the story about that one, it'll change art style, which is really kind of cool. I sometimes don't like it when art styles change in the middle of a comic book. I don't know how you guys feel. Love your feedback about that. But for me, I like it if it's part of the story, right? If the story is furthered by it. And in this case, it does feel like the story is helped by the art style change. If you've never tried a CEX book, you should start trying them out, because it was born out of, so the Comics Experience Publishing is born out of a cool web page called Comics Experience, in which if you want to work in the comic book industry and you don't live near a school or whatever, you can go and take their online courses, and they have famous people teaching them, so you can learn from people actually working in the industry. So this is the books that came out of like those. If you're going to be together and work together a lot, then sometimes you get creative together. And so that's what these books are. So it's not just like a random publisher X that's just started. They're actually probably people that you know working on them. Like Allure, everybody's probably read their other things. So give that line a try. I think I finally found my new cosplay. My new cosplay is going to come from this, I think. This one is Something is Killing the Children. This is number 22. To catch you up a little bit without spoiling anything, I hope. Erica, who is the main monster hunter, she's from the House of Slaughter. Her last name is Slaughter. So Erica Slaughter is the main character. She's the one that wears the black mask with the teeth on it. So as part of House of Slaughter, they have different groups. They have people that wear black masks. They have red masked people, white ones, blue, I think. So anyway, Erica's from the black mask part of the clan. So in the last issue, which was the beginning of a new story arc, we saw what looks like a new kind of monster that we haven't seen before. Usually it was just kind of like the big stabby looking things, look like kind of like the smoke monster from Lost or the Gorgon from Stranger Things. So, but they're super terrifying. And so now this is, Erica has kind of gone off the beaten path. She's kind of departed from what she's supposed to be doing to go off and hunt this other thing. And so now her group is sending someone after her. You have a kitty cat mask, a different thing. That is true. Kitty cat mask is different, although very fun. So we find out that you're going to see a whole bunch of story about this new character who is very creepy and appears to, like most everyone's protecting kids in this book series, but this individual seems like a very sick, twisted, like if you were going to think of like a new, like, I don't know, child killer. This is like a creepy version. But yeah, just when I think that something is killing the children is like kind of taking a lull, then they like ramp it back up. So don't miss it. A book that I did not get a chance to read, but I wanted to point out to you guys. This one is a new book from Coffin Comics, which is Brian Pulido's universe that usually is a Lady Death centered. This is another character that starts the death. Oh no, it's chapter 7. Sorry, that's funny. I thought it was chapter 1 at the top. It's part of the Deathocalypse. See, you try to say that word. Deathocalypse, right? And this one is La Muerta Onslaught. It just looks really cool. So I was just going to point that out for you guys. I did not get a chance to read it. Feels like a lot of the books I read this week are like extra large. So maybe that's what they did. Maybe they just said, hey, it's actually Onslaught number 1, but that's part of the part 7 of the storyline of Deathocalypse. It must be running through maybe Lady Death and the other ones, is my only guess. But there's a whole bunch of people that buy straight from Brian, but also you can get it through your local comic shop. Sorry, I'm trying to point at it. There, right there. Oh my goodness. How about some Thor? Remember I told you about real thick books? This one is the celebration of 60 years. It's a celebration of legacy number 750. This is number 24, which essentially is a big, long grouping of stories written by different people. I'll tell you what all of the people who have worked on these. There's separate stories about the All-Father, who gave his life, I think, in issue number 22, so that Thor might have enough power to overcome the big bad. This one has Jason Aaron, Das Pastores in a story, team Al Ewing and Lee Garbett, Dan Jurgens, Walter Simonson, J. Michael Straczynski, and Oliver Copiel. Really top teams. I think I counted out there are at least 5 separate stories in this book, all addressing different characters' reactions to the All-Father's funeral, including a really cool story from the point of view of Beta Ray Bill. And I think my favorite one is probably the last ones of the storylines. It's a really, really pretty book. Say that the most important part of this book, however, is that when you think the book is done, just like, and also the same thing happens in Amazing Spider-Man. When you think the book is done, go to the very end, because there's always, now they have kind of tried to use the comic books for Marvel in this case the same way as they do the movies, right? Where they have, just when you think it's finished, they have like the post-trailer thing. That's what it feels like, as a post-trailer bit. Okay, I'm in love with the DC thing. You guys can write down this day in time for things that haven't never happened before, but have happened now. This one is Rogues. This is the 2nd issue, so this is me saying that I love the number 1, but I was worried that number 2 I'd be kind of like, 60 years bagel makes you feel old. Yep, it might. Yeah, Marvel's been around for a good long time. So for Rogues, the 1st issue, if you don't have it and you just want me to catch you up, and if not, you should just like go la 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 right now. So the first Rogues basically centers around Captain Cold, who, like all the rest of the Rogues, kind of is living a life of trying to have just like a normal job, but they're all, very much under the watchful eye of the law. They all have to still report to their, what are those called? I've never had one, so I don't know what they're called now. When you do a crime and then you have to like talk to someone once a week to report in that you're doing a job. Probation officer, thank you. I was thinking anyway. Parole, probation or parole. There you go. So it's basically Captain Cold in the first issue saying, just kind of gathering the rest of the Rogues together and saying, hey, I've been working on for the last X years, huge amount of years, this old rumor or story that Gorilla Grodd had a golden ape city with a bunch of gold in it, which sounds like a setup, right? That sounds like can't be right. That doesn't sound right. But at the first issue, he basically gathers everybody together and says, I know that I'm asking for something huge from you guys because you're trying to go straight and do the narrow thing, but I've got this for sure thing, but I need a big crew. It's going to take all of y'all. So that's where it kind of left off the first one. So it was kind of like a real, like everyone was down and out. No one had a great job. Everyone was kind of like just making ends meet and, you know, way far away from their glory days. And this puts them in as a much older human beings too. So they have like all the aches and pains of being older. So this is kind of like a one last heist before we get too old to do it, right? I would never be able to live with myself if I didn't go and try to make the score. If there's even one small chance that it might be real. So that was the end of the first issue. That's where it left it off. And so now you've got them actually making their way to go try to do this heisty thing, which it turns out, of course, if you got Gorilla Grodd with a secret jungle golden lair, it's going to be somewhere that's not like, you know, in your backyard in America. So most of this issue is about them making their way there. How do they fund their way to go? And who's complaining about having to spend the money? And oh, it's so great. Because the thing I like about the series so much is that it feels so real. It's the things that I haven't really loved about many DC things, except for I think Tom King did a good job of it in his runs. And there's some other, like Ron V does a good job of it and the stuff he's done, where I want to care about those characters. Otherwise, I mean, if it's just a race to the next battle, then I'm not really that vested in who wins or loses. I want to really care. And so this kind of storyline where you can kind of be like, oh, I feel some empathy for them. They once, you know, like at the top of their A game, and now, you know, their knees are kind of shot, or, you know, just things that happen to us in life where you're like going, I can identify with that character, even though I don't have superpowers. I can understand trying to try how to make rent, because we all do that, right? So anyway, if you haven't picked up Rose, it's like one of those things that when I say I 100% guarantee that you will like a thing, it is one of those books that I've just started handing people the number one and being like, just buy this book, and if you don't like it, bring it back. And everyone's like, just put it on my pull box. Because that's usually what happens. Josh says, even in the normal Flash Rebirth book, Williamson brought a ton of humanity to those characters. There you go. There's another. I need to go back and read that one then. Because I started reading Flash Rebirth. And I did love it. But then life takes over and I didn't get to finish. So, yeah, if you guys have, anyone else has good storylines in DC like that you're like, this makes me really love the characters or hate them. There was another one that was recently out there that was an Arkham-based book that I really enjoyed. That it doesn't have to be good guys. Clearly, it's not in the Rogues, but I like to at least understand why they're trying to do what they're doing. All right, you guys have been waiting on this for just a couple hot minutes. Last Ronin number 5 comes full circle and finishes up the series. It mostly focuses in on the relationship between the last Ronin and the daughter of, I think this is Casey and April's daughter. I could be wrong about that because I am not a long-time Turtle reader, so I don't know if that was really what they were trying to say with that, but it's kind of like a passing of the torch, and it really, really and truly is a very satisfying end to the story, because it does not end the story. It kind of says to you, now that we know what we know, maybe we can affect some change and do something cool at the end. So this one is a really long book, just like the other ones have been. There's a huge fight, so if you like big fights, you will like this one. And yeah, it does come full circle for you. Oh, and it's so cool because they've got this big list at the back of all of the exclusives that they've had for these books. That's wicked cool. I wonder if it's just for number 5. Because there are a ton of them. Wow, that's a lot of variants. But nice ones. So I like it when they do that. I can't show you the inside, of course, because I will get in trouble and I don't want to be in trouble. Knights of X. Now, I don't know if I'm really going to buy into this part of the Hickman Tide universe. I'm on the fence because it's cool in its idea, but I don't know if I have the time and bandwidth to add another X book. But imagine this as kind of like the central idea for it, that King Arthur, clearly a historical figure and not alive anymore, doesn't seem to tie into the X-Men in any way, but given the newfound ability to do resurrection for people that are mutants, they reveal in this book that King Arthur and therefore his son, who we did not know before this book have actual mutant DNA in them, can then be brought back as mutants, and they do. And this takes place kind of like, I would say, far away from the normal X universe, and that they're going on, we'll call it a quest. So there's a quest that a lot of the characters you kind of associated with more like the medieval or magic part of the universe, that they get drawn away. Like the beginning of the book is essentially has them like disappearing from wherever they are and showing up, being kind of like summoned to this new task. So I don't want to tell you any more than that because it wrecks the whole story for you. But just if that intrigues you, the idea of maybe there's some historical figures out there that have had mutant DNA, and so now they can actually bring them back because of that, because of the regeneration stuff for the X-Men. It's kind of cool stuff. Then a lot of people have been waiting on this book, trying to figure out, is it a big, gigantic double fake? And are we not going to care? Is it kind of like the Superman death? So this one is Justice League 75. This is actually a really pretty acetate cover, by the way. And it does say Death of the Justice League on the front. So this one also starts with a big culling, where all the Justice League and Tide members get like sucked out of wherever they are. There's no warning. It's kind of a fun set of pages because it kind of has that happen. Some of them are in the middle of saying something, and some of them are just like poof or gone. And then some people manage to grab somebody and take them with them. But it appears that someone, so I don't mess it all up for you guys, someone has gathered together all of the Justice League in order to have them kind of like battle another group of definitely different versions of like the biggest bad you can imagine, Darkseid and Doomsday and all those guys. They're clearly not themselves. There's something that's gone wrong or has been modified. I don't know. But the individual that's brought them together is convinced that if they have this battle that results in total annihilation, that it resets and fixes a whole bunch of things that have been wrong, that have gone wrong. Now, is this person right? Are they wrong and crazy? I don't know. But it is a cool epic battle book. And it's certainly, if you have not read any DC, or you haven't read DC in a while and you're looking for an excuse to just come try it, it actually sets up the next big story arc, which I think it says it on the back. I'll tell you what the story arc is so that you guys can, and that's not a spoiler because it's literally on there. It's a Dark Crisis prelude. Dark Crisis. So if you like the Infinite Crisis and all those kinds of things, it's definitely, the characters that have been gathered for this are not all from Earth, whatever we are. I don't know what the Earth is in DC, because both Marvel and DC have Earth numbers. 313. I don't know. I don't know which one we're from. So anyway, so that one's a fun thing. Also, I will point out that this week is a previews week, and I'll show you the swanky previews. It's got Green Hornet on one side as a toy, a cool toy from Diamond Select, Kato figure specifically. And then it advertises Animal Castle on the other side, which is in its issue number 5 or 6 now. And it's kind of fun that it says, on the farm, all animals were equal. In the castle, some are more equal than others. So if you haven't picked up a Blaze's Animal Castle, I think the trade is coming out soon, which is probably what that's about, because there's no way it could be about the individual issues, because you can't possibly get those right now. Okay. I'll point out that also this week is a release for some more good Hellblazer. This is Hellblazer Rise and Fall. A good thing for grabbing up if you like John Constantine. There's been a lot of rumors about that character popping back up. I know that Keanu has expressed a desire to play the part. From Humanoids, there is a new book out called Thick Skins. I'll read you the pitch here. It says, a breathtaking, fast-paced manhunt in the form of an elegant space opera. It's based on a novel by Laurent Gianfort. Sorry. Once upon a time, Lark was a thick skin, a clan of humans genetically modified to operate in space without a suit. It wasn't the life Lark wanted. His modifications removed. Lark left home and traveled the galaxy for decades as a mercenary, training dozens of combat soldiers before retiring. Now, weary and restless, he's eager to find his old family. Unfortunately, so is one of Lark's former trainees, Rocco, who's been hired to locate Lark's clan, kill them, and strip them of their priceless skins in return for an ungodly reward. Now it's a race against time as both men scour the cosmos for the lost clan of Thickskins. And once they cross paths, Lark's going to discover just how lethal a soldier Rocco turned out to be. That sounds super cool. I want a skin that I can go out into space in. Right? Don't you? I think there is well, maybe that's not a new one. Maybe we just finally got it. Since I don't know, there's Demon Slayer number 12. It's either a brand new book or we finally got ours in. Because we have like a big open order that we are always excited about. And look at all of these and see which ones are new. Ooh, here's a scary one. You can be looking for this one. Five Nights at Freddy's graphic novel, The Fourth Closet, by Graphic Scholastic. There's nothing like a good jump scare book. A cool Oni Press book. This one is called The Agents of Slam. And this one's meant to be like an all ages, I think, book. It says, Agents of Slam aren't your average professional wrestlers. They're led by the fearless and famous Bruno Bravado and work for the President of the United States to protect people from all kinds of threats, both on Earth and in space. And they've just been joined by their newest recruit, Katie Jones, 12-year-old wrestling blogger. That sounds fun. That one's called Agents of Slam. If you guys are interested in that book. And super excited about this release. Tentacle Kitty has its own trade paperback. Yes, for fans of the super cute plushies, this is now a new storyline for the cute plushes. Escaping from an alternate reality Earth, Tentacle Kitty and her friends delight each other with tales of action and adventure over tea. Tentacle Kitty hunts for the elusive green cotton candy mice and discovers what green actually tastes like. Violet and TK venture into the crowds of comic convention only to be surrounded by a growing horde of zombies. Finally, Pirate Kitty regales us with his epic sea tale of monstrous foes and island marooning. So there you go. This one previously only available as just like going online and looking it on the internet. And soon I'll have huge amounts of the plushes too. So maybe your local comic shop has those already. Also out this week is a book called Meteor Men. And this is the pitch. On a summer night, Alden Baylor sits in a field watching the largest meteor shower in human history. What begins as teenager adventure becomes something more. The celestial event brings travelers who will change the world completely, and Alden discovers a connection to one of them. How does a young man who had to grow up fast handle the invasion of his planet? Can Alden keep humanity from oblivion? There you go. This one is a cool Oni Press book. All right. I think that is all I can fit in today. I'm telling you that it is a really cool week in release. Hold on. There's one more book I can see from here. Sorry, I could see there was a DC book and I hadn't any DC books up here in trade. This is Talon from James Tynion. So if you had missed the Talon books, this is a big, huge one. It includes issues 0 through 17 and Birds of Prey 21. And a brand new introduction. So that is the last of the goodies. All right, everybody, thank you for joining us here on The Experience for a Minute to Skim It. Please do subscribe to the channel. And if you're on a device where you can do some thumbs up and hearts, we appreciate it. And tell a friend. Tell a friend. This is probably helpful for people if they're unsure about what to buy. This will get them at least pointed to the right direction for something they want this week. And hook up with your local comic shop. Call them up right now. Tell them which ones you wanted so that you don't miss them. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks, y'all.